Okay, so today we're diving into something pretty wild. Japan's plan to build Fugaku next.
It's ambitious.
Yeah, ambitious might be an understatement. We're talking about the world's first Zeta-Class supercomputer. This thing is going to be unbelievably powerful. I mean, you've read the articles, right? What's your take?
It's a whole different ballgame. We're not just talking about a slightly faster computer here. It's a completely different league.
The articles say it'll be 1,000 times faster than the best supercomputers we have right now. 1,000 times. Imagine that going from like a bicycle to a fighter jet.
Yeah, it's hard to even wrap your head around that kind of speed increase.
So let's break this down. What exactly does Zeta-Class even mean?
It all boils down to processing power. How many calculations a computer can crunch in a second? We measure that in FLOPS, floating point operations per second. Right now, the top supercomputers are in the EXFLOPS range, which is, get this, a quintillion operations per second.
Quintillion. It's a number I can barely even fathom.
And Fugaku next. It's aiming for Zeta-FLOPS, 1,000 times faster than that.
Okay, so imagine this. Say exaflopy is like mapping all the roads in a city. Zeta-FLOPS is like mapping every single atom in that entire city.
That's a pretty good way to put it. The scale of the data these machines can handle is mind-boggling.
So why is Japan so gung-ho about building this thing? I mean, it's got to be a massive undertaking, right?
For sure. There's definitely a sense of national pride. It's about being at the forefront of technology, pushing the boundaries. But it goes beyond that. One of the articles I read really highlighted Japan's ambition to lead the global AI race.
Which makes sense. Whoever cracks the code on advanced AI has the potential to revolutionize, well, pretty much everything. Right?
Exactly. Healthcare, materials science, climate modeling, you name it. We could be talking about breakthroughs we can't even imagine yet.
It's like unlocking a whole new level of human potential, but with a computer. It really makes you think, what kind of problems could we tackle with that kind of processing power? Like one of the articles mentions simulating complex molecular interactions.
Oh, absolutely. That's huge for drug discovery.
So we're talking about actually designing new drugs and therapies inside a computer.
Exactly. We could test thousands, maybe even millions,
Yeah.
of potential solutions at the same time. It would completely change the game for personalized medicine. Think about it.
Instead of spending years in a lab, we're talking about drastically shortening the time it takes to develop new treatments.
Exactly. And it's not just limited to medicine. The applications for other fields are just as mind-blowing. Climate change, for example.
Okay, yeah, I've heard about that. How would this supercomputer help with something as complex as climate change?
Imagine being able to create insanely detailed climate models, like down to the tiniest detail. We could potentially predict weather patterns with incredible accuracy.
That would be a game changer. We could be talking about predicting natural disasters before they even happen.
Precisely. Hurricanes, droughts, you name it. We could be so much better prepared. It could even impact things like agriculture, infrastructure planning, even global migration patterns.
It's amazing to think about the possibilities. But, and I hate to be a downer here, but isn't there a catch? I mean, building a machine this powerful has to come with some downsides, right? What about the energy consumption?
Yeah, that's the elephant in the room, for sure.
Yeah.
One of the experts I read estimated it could take the same amount of energy as several nuclear power plants just to run this thing.
Wow. That's a lot of power. It makes you wonder, are the benefits worth the potential environmental impact? That's a big concern. I mean, we're talking about solving global problems, but not if it means creating new ones, right?
Exactly. The last thing we want is to solve one crisis just to create another.
So what can be done about it?
Well, the good news is the articles hinted at some potential solutions. We have to remember this technology is still evolving crazy fast.
Okay, so what are we talking about here? Some kind of revolutionary new power source?
Not necessarily. It might be more about efficiency. Imagine new materials that make processors way more efficient, or super innovative cooling systems.
So we're talking about getting way more bang for our buck energy-wise.
Exactly. Squeezing every ounce of performance out of each watt of electricity. And don't forget, this supercomputer could actually help us solve the energy crisis.
Wait, what? How?
Think about it. We could use it to design completely new renewable energy systems or come up with ways to capture carbon way more efficiently than we can now.
So the computer that needs tons of energy could actually help us create more sustainable energy.
It's a pretty wild thought, right?
It is. Okay, so we've talked a lot about the technology, but what about the people behind it? Who's actually going to build this thing?
Well, the articles mention Riken, which is a Japanese research institute.
They're the ones behind the current Fugaku supercomputer, right?
That's right. They're like the rock stars of the supercomputing world. And there was talk of them possibly teaming up with either Fujitsu, who built the current Fugaku, or even a big U.S. tech company.
Wow, it sounds like a massive global effort.
It really is.
Yeah,
And I think that's important because ultimately, these advancements shouldn't belong to just one country. We need to make sure the benefits are available to everyone.
absolutely. Imagine a world where scientists and researchers everywhere can use this technology to tackle the biggest challenges facing humanity.
Now, that's a future worth getting excited about.
It really is. This has been an incredible deep dive. It's amazing to think about how far we've come and what might be possible in the near future with Fugaku next. It really feels like we're on the verge of a new era of scientific discovery, and I can't wait to see what breakthroughs are waiting for us. Thanks for joining us today on this deep dive, and remember, there's always more to discover.